Schengen, Eastern Albania. These people who have just arrived are seeking asylum in Italy. As stipulated in an agreement concluded at the end of 2023 between Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and her Albanian counterpart, the principle, asylum applications from migrants rescued at sea are processed in Albania.
And what we're seeing here is that they're being brought into these prisons and being held against European law and their human rights.
Objective, to deter anyone attempting to reach Italy via the Mediterranean. An agreement that is currently suspended, but one that several European countries would like to emulate. There was this agreement between Italy and Albania, but also the one between the United Kingdom and Rwanda. What human rights problems do these agreements raise, and what is their interest for the countries involved? We find out. The pattern is almost always the same. A rich country makes an agreement with a poorer country to send asylum seekers who have arrived illegally on its soil. With one difference. In the case of Italy, the Italian authorities were to process the applications in Albania, whereas for the United Kingdom and Rwanda, it was the Rwandan authorities who were to handle the asylum applications. The migrants sent to Rwanda under this agreement would therefore obtain asylum in this African country, not in Great Britain. Rwanda received more than 220 million euros from London for its National Development Fund, but this is not the only benefit it hoped to gain from its agreement with Great Britain.
In the case of Rwanda, it also gave Rwanda a global stage on which they could argue, hey, look, we are a modern, developed country that treats asylum seekers and refugees well.
As for Albania, it is a candidate to join the European Union. This agreement allows it to present itself as a reliable country.
L'Albanie joue son image pour entrer dans l'Union européenne. Donc chacun a des intérêts diplomatiques plutôt en termes d'image à être de bons élèves, de bons partenaires ou des partenaires pour du développement.
For the states wanting to send their asylum seekers abroad, the primary goal is to demonstrate their resolve in the face of irregular immigration.
How do we stop the boats? Well, I'm very clear that requires bold solutions, requires a clear plan. That's why we need Rwanda. We've got to make it crystal clear to everybody. If you come to our country illegally, you won't get to stay. We will be able to remove you to a safe alternative because that's how you break the cycle.
Pour l'instant, je ne sais pas très bien ce qu'ils y gagnent, mais ils pensent qu'ils vont gagner. C'est-à-dire qu'on est plus dans la mise en scène, si j'ose dire. On va, rassurez-vous, avec nous, on va se débarrasser de tous ces demandeurs d'asile. On est plutôt dans ce cas de figure aujourd'hui face à des velléités, enfin au populisme ambiant, aux sondages qui montrent que ces partis ont des chances de gagner les élections.
For Peter Walsh, the states involved may also have other motivations.
If you very quickly remove people to other countries, that doesn't give them the opportunity to set down roots in countries of destination, and it reduces the avenues for a successful appeal, which would typically on the right to a family life.
In recent years in Europe, the far right and some of its ideas have steadily gained ground. The idea of outsourcing asylum applications appeals to many leaders, particularly in Denmark, known for its especially restrictive immigration policy. In May 2024, 15 EU member states, including Austria and Finland, asked the European Commission in a letter to allow the use of this system. And the German Ministry of the Interior even officially examined this possibility in 2025. Its report concluded that outsourcing asylum applicants faced many obstacles. Is this system truly effective? Deterring asylum seekers from boarding boats to the UK or Italy at the risk of their lives. That was the objective of London and Rome with these agreements. But for Peter Walsh, this type of migration policy has limited effects.
It's quite complicated, it's quite mixed. But in general, the research literature finds that deterrence policies don't tend to have a very big impact. Powerful geopolitical push factors tend to be more important than policies in destination countries. So these are things like war, civil or ethnic conflict, ecological disaster, famine, extreme poverty, and so on. Another is that what we find when we speak with asylum seekers, people on the move, is they often do not have a detailed knowledge of policies that await them.
On November the 15th, 2023, the UK Supreme Court ruled the agreement with Rwanda illegal, and for a very specific reason.
And that was largely because Rwanda, in the Supreme Court's judgment, was not a safe country to send asylum seekers to. And that largely rested on the argument that in this case was made by the UN that said Rwanda does not have a functional asylum system.
To carry out its project, the government at the time passed a law allowing it to circumvent this decision, before abandoning it when the UK's political majority changed. The courts also blocked the agreement between Italy and Albania. On August the 1st, 2025, the Court of Justice of the European Union invalidated its legal basis.
Malgré les fortes tentations de beaucoup de pays de faire traiter à distance les demandeurs d'asile, pour l'instant, aucun tribunal n'a accepté qu'on puisse faire le travail par d'autres dans des sortes de sas où les gens seraient triés avant de pouvoir accéder au pays où ils veulent demander l'asile.
The European judges based their decision on arguments similar to those of the British magistrates, arguments that address essential points: respect for international law and human rights. Non-refoulement is a key principle of European and international law. According to this principle, refugees and asylum seekers cannot be sent back to countries where their fundamental rights are threatened. Non-refoulement is notably enshrined in the Geneva Convention, relating to the status of refugees, ratified by 145 states, including the United Kingdom and Italy. This concept is at the heart of the various rulings, challenging the outsourcing of asylum applications. The Italian agreement was blocked because it involved sending to Albania asylum seekers from countries that Rome considered safe, even though they risked persecution if they were expelled there after their application was rejected. The question of safe countries also extends to the states where asylum applications are to be examined. Will the migrants in question be treated fairly there?
We have a phrase in English, out of sight, out of mind. And this is something that charities, human rights charities, refugee charities are very concerned about, because what they argue, and indeed what has been found in certain circumstances, like the migrant facilities in Papua New Guinea and Nauru, is that the conditions there actually do violate human rights. They subject individuals to inhuman or degrading treatment. So that's why this question of safety is really paramount.
Australia was indeed among the first to relocate its asylum seekers. In the early 2000s, it signed agreements with Nauru and Papua New Guinea, small island states in the Pacific. States that turned into prisons, where migrants suffered numerous acts of violence, far removed from the NGOs which were mostly denied access. Finding refuge and a better future after fleeing wars, persecution, or environmental crises. This is the hope and goal of many asylum seekers in Europe and around the world, a goal that, with these outsourcing agreements, seems harder to achieve.